staff of Ladysmith Credit Union come out and put on a presentation for us. There's been so many frauds and scams happening lately, and with AI now in the forefront. We need to know what we're doing. So I've forgotten your name already.
It's okay, it's Michael.
Okay, so Michael will take over because he's got a memory and I don't.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't. No.
Thank you. It's so nice to see all your smiling faces here today. I mean, this is a fantastic place. We could have had it outside, but I didn't think that would work that well. It was too hot and too distracting, and you probably wouldn't be listening to me anyway. So my name is Michael Robinson. I'm the marketing manager for Ladysmith and District Credit Union. We are happy to present our fraud awareness seminar as part of one of our pillars of philosophy, where we try and empower members with skills and knowledge to help protect themselves. With us today is also Courtney Hen. She is the Assistant Manager of Member Services, and she will be speaking a little bit about fraud from the banking lens. So if you have any questions, you'll be able to direct them to her. We have a lot to discuss, and we'll go through our presentation. We'll have time for questions and answers afterwards. So we might tax your memories. So if you remember, hopefully you can bring it up. But we'll do our best to answer whatever questions that you have. Okay, fraud. My goodness, dun dun dun. I wish I had some sound effects to do that. So it's on everyone's minds, of course, which is why you're here. We've all seen the news reports in clicker, sorry. Fraud! In 2025, the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre reported losses in excess of $700 million. Okay, that's a lot of money. But since that time, since 2022, there's been over $2.4 billion in losses in Canada alone. And when you factor in that only 5 to 10% of people actually report losses, that 2.4 billion, you can multiply that by a factor of 5. That's a lot of money. Fraud is big business. That means you are big business. What makes it challenging is that fraud doesn't look like fraud. It's not obvious. It doesn't look like a scam anymore. It could be your bank, your government, your family. And because there's so many different types of scams, it can feel really overwhelming. Like, who's overwhelmed by all of this? Right, hands raised, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. So who has mobile phones? Mobile phones? Cell phones. Who does online banking? Who does online shopping? Okay. You're all potential victims. Sorry, but that's the world we live in today. That's how it is. Now, we're here to let you know that these scams are designed to create pressure, confusion, and to manipulate you. Anyone can be targeted. So, scary, right? So, question is, how do we protect ourselves? Well, I have good news. Most scams follow a similar pattern. And once you understand the pattern, you can protect yourself. So, what's the pattern? Now, before I get into some of the specifics, I heard someone mention Vegas. Who's been to Vegas here? Okay. Now, I want you to think about scams like a casino in Vegas. Every slot, especially slots, every slot machine looks different. It's got a different interface on it, it's got different lights, got different sounds, different themes, but underneath they all work exactly the same way. Scams are no different. Fraudsters constantly change the appearance of the scam, the story, the technology, the emotional hook, but underlying it, the pattern is almost always the same. Most scams follow this pattern. First, they create a sense of urgency. Act now. Second, then they build on your fear or your trust. And then finally, they'll ask for money or personal information or passwords or access. Now, remember this pattern. If you see these three things operating together, it's pretty good chances it's a scam. So when you're presented with this, slow down and think, because they don't want you thinking. They want you to panic and act. So what we're going to talk about today, there are many, many different kinds of scams, but we're going to focus on the top 4 scams affecting seniors in the country. Now, even though the scams look different on the surface, again, they rely on the same tactics that I mentioned earlier. So the top 4 scams: the emergency grandparent scam. I'm sure you've heard of that one. The bank or government impersonation scam. Phishing scams through email or text. Romance scams. So as we go through them, I would like you to pay attention about how each one uses urgency and emotion to manipulate the people that they've targeted. Now, some scams are about pretending to be someone that you trust, you know, like your bank, the CRA, the police, or even a grandchild is in trouble. And it usually goes this way. There's a fake call from the grandchild, from the police or lawyer, you know, I'm in jail, I've had an accident, something's happened. So right away, you kind of go into panic mode. And then they claim urgent trouble, again, arrest. Then they demand money, bail, you name it, something about hospital bills, flight home, that kind of thing. So let me ask you, so if a family member called you and said I needed help, would you act right away? Yeah. Right? You would, right? And that's, well, that's exactly what the scammers are counting on, your instinct to help. So in this example, we're going to look at a grandparent scam, and I want you to try and notice the attempt at urgency in it.
Well, this one is called the grandparent scam. Con artists preying on the elderly, calling, pretending to be a grandchild in an emergency, and pleading for money. Well, now one admitted scammer reveals how he did it.
You can make 10 grand sometimes in a day if you do it properly.
This 31-year-old con man in federal custody is currently awaiting sentencing in California for his role in the grandparent scam. He won't disclose his name, but does reveal how the con worked.
So you just say, hey, how are you? Hi. Hi, Grandma. Hi, Grandpa. I'm in a little bit of trouble right now if I tell you just keep it between us. I'm on vacation, but I got into a little accident, and you know, I was arrested for DUI. You tell them things got out of control, and I need you to send me the money.
He worked out of Canada, calling senior citizens in the U.S. He says 1 out of every 50 people he called would fall for it.
We target people over the age of 65, mainly, because they're more gullible, they're at home, they're more accessible. Once you get them emotionally involved, then they'll do anything for you, basically.
This grandmother says she was one of those victims blinded by emotion when she was scammed by someone.
There was a desperation and an urgency in his voice, partly because he said, love you.
When asked if the caller even sounded like her 29-year-old grandson, she said no, but he had said he had a broken nose.
I just wanted him to be home with his family. That's all I wanted.
So the 81-year-old wired almost $18,000 to a bank account in North Carolina, thinking her grandson was sitting in jail for drunk driving. The money was gone. The scammer's phone disconnected.
We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed at this time.
Doug Shadell with AARP says this happens to more people than you'd think.
We've had doctors and lawyers fall for this. It doesn't really matter what your educational level is, because it triggers something emotional that causes you to act.
As for the con man CBS spoke with, he says he spent most of the money he scammed.
I didn't know how much pain this was causing people. I figured,
did you not know?
I thought people, were making $100,000 a year and they would lose a couple thousand here and there.
Well, the former scammer says to prevent this from happening to you, ask a question that only your grandchild would know, such as the name of a pet. It's estimated senior citizens are robbed out of roughly $3 billion a year in financial scams.
So there you go. So you saw what happened there? That emotional manipulation that triggers you, and it's like, oh my God, I just want to help. Next scam that we're going to look at. Now, scammers don't just call anymore. So they can pretend to be your bank, again, your CRA, in multiple ways. They can do it by phone, by text, or by sending you to a fake website that looks real. Okay? So if your bank called and said your account was at risk, what would you do? You'd probably panic and like, oh my God, how do I stop it? How do I fix it? I'm going to lose all my money. Okay? Scammers create urgency, and so you don't stop to verify. It usually works something like this. The caller pretends to be the CRA, Service Canada, police, or a bank, and they may contact you by text, phone, or email, says you owe money or taxes or your account is compromised, and then pressures you to send money, move money into another account to protect it, and give personal information. And they may lure you to a fake website. Now, this particular one shows a fake CRA website. And in this case, the person found it through Google search. But scams, you know, like I said, they start with a phone call, text message that can lead you to the site as well. How often do you deal with businesses like go to our website and look, you know, for the information? Scammer can do the same thing. Go to our website, you think it's the CRA's website, and it's not.
Well, many of us use search engines several times a day to find products and services, and most of the time, there are absolutely no problems.
However, some criminals are now creating websites that look like the real thing to try and steal your banking and personal information. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. A woman recently wanted to open a business account with the Canada Revenue Agency. She did a Google search, which took her to what she thought was the CRA's website. But it was a fake, and she was scammed out of more than $26,000.
How was I supposed to know it was a scammer? I really didn't know that.
Ruth Jean of London operates her own company and needed to set up a business account with the Canada Revenue Agency. In March, she did a Google search to find the CRA's website.
And I clicked on it. It opened out. The CRA name was on there.
Jean says she was asked to put in her social insurance number and other personal information. Then she was asked for her banking details.
I asked for the card number, the ATM password, and the expiration date for the card, and all that information. So I put it in. After I submit the information, the screen went blank.
Jean was on a fake spoof CRA website that looked like the real thing. Once criminals had her banking information, they emptied her bank account of more than $26,000.
You thought you were on the real PC Financial website?
Of course I did.
Earlier this year, we did a story with a senior trying to buy GICs who also got caught in a fake website scam that cost him $750,000.
I've got zero, nothing.
We reached out to Google, and a spokesperson said, when we find ads that breach our policies, we take immediate action, including removing the ads and suspending advertiser accounts when necessary.
Individuals can actually pay to have their listing right at the top, and some of those listings are not verified, and they're what we call spoofed websites.
Cybersecurity experts say you need to make sure you're on the proper website before entering financial information. Third-party link checkers can also help detect fraud.
The easiest way is to read the URL, which is the address, the domain address, up in the browser. Make sure that it's accurate, that it's spelled accurately. Look for the padlock in the browser. That padlock means that there is a security certificate and that your information is encrypted.
Jean says she is devastated to lose her hard-earned money.
I feel sad. I feel like angry. I was just trying to sign up for a business account on CRA.
And be very cautious. If you get a text or an email that appears to come from your bank, it may try to get you to click on a link that will take you to a website that looks like the real thing, but could be a fake. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at
alert.
Yeah, you don't need to hear that. So, sounds pretty scary, right? Okay, we're going to get into some of the ways that you can protect yourself from this kind of thing happening. Next one, phishing email text scams. They mentioned that in the previous video. Now, these look like they're from, your bank or a trucking company, Canada Post. They ask you to click on a link or a login, and this is used to steal your passwords and information. Now, how many of you have received a text or an email saying, your account is locked, or Netflix especially, we haven't been able to process your monthly transaction? A lot of those, yep. Now, I have been getting a lot of cloud storage warnings lately to upgrade my cloud storage. I'm getting so many of those right now. Yeah, you lose all your photos. Click here, and it's like, yeah, it's a scam. Okay? Phishing emails are the fastest growing type of scam out there. So just so you know. So what to do? Don't click the links. Okay? And go directly to a verified website. So ironically, you'll probably use Google to search it to find it. But when people scam you on credit card, you don't call back the number they give you. You look at the number on the back of your credit card. That's what you do, right? Verify the source. So, now, in this particular example, I would like you to note the secrecy and how the scammers coached this individual. They're being told exactly what to say, okay? So when the bank asked questions, they weren't getting the full picture. And that makes fraud very hard to stop. So this is a really tough situation for both the financial institution and for the member. The bank did what they could, but ultimately, it's the customer's money. We can't stop them from pulling out their money if they're determined to do it. And so that's what makes it really challenging, especially when you know that the people are being scammed. It's horrible. It's horrible.
For many of us, it's a daily problem. Texts, emails, and phone calls, phishing for our personal information, and some can be quite convincing.
You have to make sure you're dealing with the person or company you think you are, which a Scarborough senior found out the hard way. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Nathan and Michelle, the man's family feels terrible that he got caught in the antivirus phishing scam. The 87-year-old senior thought an email he received was from Norton, but it was from criminals who were able to steal more than $40,000.
All right, Dad.
Carmen Chismore of Scarborough got an email that appeared to be a bill from Norton Antivirus. It said he would be charged $419 for software. He replied to the email saying he didn't need it or want to pay for it. He was told he would be refunded $419, but that by accident, almost $42,000 was deposited into his bank account.
$42,000 had been entered into my bank account, and they said, well, gee whiz, we made a mistake. How do we correct that?
The scammers were able to hack Chismore's computer and get into his bank account. He was told to go to his branch and do a wire transfer of $41,400. The teller did ask him questions, but Chismore was told to say he was paying back a loan to an old college friend.
Why was I making the wire transfer, repayment of a debt?
When the scammers tried to get another $20,000 days later, Chismore knew he had been scammed.
The fact that they had repeatedly told me not to talk to the bank should have set all kinds of flares up.
Scams in general are a massive problem. It's 3 billion scam messages sent out in the past year.
Norton says watch out for suspicious emails that claim you're about to be charged for its antivirus software.
They try and reach out to you and say, hey, hundreds of dollars are about to be charged to your account because your subscription is about to renew.
Chismore's daughter, Sherry, believes the bank should have done more to prevent the fraud.
The fact that going to the bank and that they let this happen, and I just felt, so horrible for my parents.
The bank is CIBC. A spokesperson said, our team is trained to ask questions when transactions do not fit a client's usual banking pattern. If a client authorizes the transaction, it would be processed. Clients have a role to play in recognizing fraud and protecting themselves against it. The family is concerned that the money is now gone for good. They wanted to share their story to try and warn others.
And be careful, you don't open any suspicious texts or emails. If you get one and you're not sure if it's legitimate, contact the company directly by going to their official website and not responding to what was sent to you. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story.
So did you notice when they said he got hacked? He got hacked because he clicked the link and replied to the email. That's how it started, right? So always be wary of, I say, any unsolicited communication. Be suspicious right off the bat, whether it's from family, from friends, from anyone. If you're not expecting it, just treat it as suspicious. It doesn't hurt anyone if you're wrong, because you can verify and then you're good. No one will fault you, no business, legitimate business will fault you for taking that precaution. Romance and investment scams, these are the most heart-wrenching ones. Now, this is really, really tough because the other ones are kind of like scams of opportunity and they happen relatively quickly. Romance scams happen over a period of months and they build up relationships and you become friends like people that you're trusted. I mean, I'm sure people, you know, they have friends online whom they've never met. And it's like, oh yeah, it's a great friend of mine. It's like, yeah, how do you know? You've never actually met them. They could be anybody, like literally anybody. Oh, no, that wouldn't happen to me. They wouldn't lie to me. Want to bet? So others are the investments, so lottery winnings. I can't tell you how many people come up to me. It's like, oh, you know, I won, you know, some money and I want to get some money to, Courtney might tell you a story about lottery winnings. And the people didn't enter the lottery. Well, then how did you win? But you see, it's, you know, so, you know, again, you think about yourself. So if you talk to someone every day for months, would you trust them? Built up? So, I mean, when you talk about, months. So if you talk to them more than once a day, which a lot of people do, and you build up with friends and you share family pictures and this kind of stuff, it happens a lot easier than you think. So that's exactly how these scams happen and what makes them so devastating.
A brutal scam known as pig butchering has stolen the life savings of yet another Bay Area resident. This time, a San Francisco retiree. He thought he was starting a new life with a new love.
Yeah, instead, he lost more than $500,000. 7 on your side, Stephanie Sierra is here with his story. Steph.
Yes, Alma and Dan, this case was especially heart-wrenching because his friends and loved ones knew he was being scammed and tried for months to warn him. They alerted every law enforcement agency they could to find, but nothing would stop him.
So I had this all ready to go. All ready to go.
Adon Look was packed and ready to fly off to a new life.
Had clothes, pants.
He'd be joining the young woman he met on Facebook. Together, they'd build their dream home in Hawaii.
Even swimming trunks, walk on the beach, yeah.
Her name was Anissa. He called her Annie. They'd been chatting on WhatsApp since last May.
Brand new pants, brand new. Had them tailored.
Annie said she was from Japan, working in microchip sales. Her family had made millions. He told her he was alone, his wife in a nursing home.
Told her that, there's no one here to cook for me, it's just me. She assured me, well, I'll be doing the cooking for you.
She promised to visit, even sent flight information, yet she never came.
I was head over heels, pretty much out of control, ready to do anything. And then she said she was into crypto.
Annie told him she'd made millions investing in crypto. He could too. They'd make enough to build a life in Hawaii.
I was ready to fly. I was ready to go. I was going to start a new life with this person.
I didn't know what had happened to my dad. It was kind of this, like he flipped a switch into someone I hadn't seen before.
Adon's son, Jonathan, of Hayward, saw signs of trouble.
Found some pictures of a woman, Asian woman.
He saw the text messages about love and investing. He confronted his dad.
Well, you're a married man. What is this, 20-something-year-old woman
I wasn't paying no attention to it because I was too immersed in my bubble.
Then Jonathan discovered this $300,000 wire transfer to a fake company and a deposit into an unknown account.
Immediately, I shifted to red flags everywhere.
Later, he discovered his dad also wired thousands of dollars directly to banks in Malaysia and Vietnam. First $5,000, then $100,000, then another $100,000.
He told me he was investing and that not to worry.
Adon reminded Jonathan he volunteers at the Institute on Aging of San Francisco, playing piano for seniors and, ironically, manning a hotline to help them combat loneliness and scams. So he'd recognize a con if he saw one. But Jonathan was worried. He warned his dad these crypto websites he was using appeared fake, so the $6 million in his account was not really there. Annie herself probably didn't exist. He texted, "Dad, your friends and I need to talk about the romance scam you are a victim of." Adon replied, "No, I'm good, Jonathan. My choice, my life. Ready to run away from everyone."
It was suddenly like we all became enemies. Saying like, no, she's not a scammer. You're being toxic. Get away from me, basically.
Jonathan alerted the FBI, local police, the Secret Service, the banks, the Institute on Aging, yet no one could stop Adon from wiring away money.
$6,929,000.
Until last month, Adon tried to pull out the $6 million supposedly sitting in his crypto account. Annie said he'd have to pay $25,000 to unlock it, but he had no money left.
The bubble popped, right? Eventually bubbles will pop.
He realized he'd been scammed.
But I was trying to tell you this was a scam website, and you thought it was legitimate, that you're investing.
After months of bitterness, father and son reunite.
This is a real company, but all they did was steal the image and put it on here. This is a dark website. This is a dark web.
They traced the scheme, the lost money.
$5,000 wire, and then you had another one for $100,000. What did she tell you these are for? What did you think you were doing?
Pooling the money. It's okay.
You want me to say a prayer?
I'll say a prayer. Thank you, Lord, that we're all together able to enjoy this.
Then they share a meal.
I feel no animosity toward my son or any ill feeling, but gratefulness. Thank you, Jonathan. I mean that from my heart. I had to go down back to earth. I'm back to earth now, so yeah. Big hug. Thank you. Sorry.
This is awful. After he realized he'd been scammed, Adon contacted us at 7 on Your Side, and he wanted to share his story to warn others. The FBI reports victims of these cryptocurrency scams have lost more than $5.8 billion in recent years. And Dan and Amma, we too often hear stories like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, it's just so heartbreaking to watch. At least,
But touching that relationship between the father and son.
at least that's
Yeah.
been repaired.
Yeah.
Right. Stephanie, thank you. Wow.
And a crypto scam at the same time. And again, with the crypto scams, if some company says, you know, you need to pay via gift cards or crypto, Bitcoin, it's a scam. No one asks for that. So yeah, just hang up right away if you ever get that. Now, scams are getting more convincing. So now we're going to talk about AI. Okay, so the old-fashioned scams are still very much in vogue. You know, the contractor scams, the people come into your door saying, you know, gutters or whatever you want. The ticket scams, rental scams, the fake charity requests, those are all still there. But now scammers are using AI to make things look and sound real. So I'm going to ask you another question. If your phone showed your bank's phone number and you heard a voice that sounds like your grandchild, would you trust it? See, you say that, but a lot of people do. So you can't rely on that anymore. The things we used to trust, we can't trust anymore. Okay, so with AI, scammers can now make phone calls that look like they're coming from your bank. They can create websites that look almost identical to the real thing, and they can copy someone's voice, right? It's getting harder to tell what's real and what's not. So This example shows what AI can actually do in real life. And I want you to listen carefully and ask yourself, could I tell if this was real or not?
Phone scams are nothing new, but thanks to artificial intelligence, they are getting more sophisticated and more believable. Scam artists are now using AI to clone voices to trick unsuspecting victims. CBS's Carter Evans takes a look at this frightening new technology in our continuing series, The Age of AI.
Jennifer DeStefano will never forget the frantic call she got from her 15-year-old daughter, Brianna.
And she goes, "Mom, these bad men have me, help me, help me, help me." And this man gets on, very aggressive, "Listen here, I have your daughter." And then that's when I went into panic mode.
The man demanded $1 million.
I said that wasn't possible. So then he came up with a $50,000.
She never paid the money and would soon learn the call was a popular AI scam. New software can recreate the voices of loved ones in distress, and scammers use that to ask for large sums of money.
This man comes on the phone. He said, "You're going to give me $5,000.
I heard our daughter on the phone. Like, it was unmistakably her.
Americans lost nearly $9 billion to fraud last year alone, up more than 150% in just 2 years.
Younger people experience fraud and fraud losses more often than older people, but it's that older adult who has so much to lose.
Cybersecurity expert Pete Nicoletti created my voice from old news reports online. What you're about to hear is something I never said.
"Hey, this is Carter. I need your credit card number right now."
I mean, that really sounded like me.
It is you. It's cloned you. It's AI Carter.
To test it out, we called my mother.
"Hey, I'm about to do an interview, but I have a quick question. I need you to text me your driver's license number as soon as you can."
She fell for the fake voice.
I feel bad. I feel terrible
We
about
just
it.
scammed my mom. Did you just get a call from me?
Asking for my driver's license number?
Yes. That was an AI-generated voice.
Oh, God, Carter, that's scary. Is this the real you now?
This is the real me now.
We live in a post-real society. You can't trust the voice, you can't trust the photo, and you can't trust the video anymore.
A voice is like a fingerprint, and that's that unique fingerprint that's being exploited and weaponized. It has to stop.
And Nora, the technology is really improving. Soon, scammers will be able to react instantly to anything you say by converting their voice into the voice of your loved one in real time.
Carter, this is scary stuff, really eye-opening. So what can people do to protect themselves?
Well, there's a couple of things you can do right away. And the first thing is to create a safe word that only your family is going to know. Secondly, you want to make your social media accounts private. Don't give that information away to potential scammers to use against you. And finally, if you get one of these calls, hang up, call them back, make sure they're really in trouble.
Carter Evans, thank you.
So, did you recognize the patterns in these? That sense of urgency, and once that sense of urgency triggers, you don't think, you just act. Right? So I just want to say that this video here was from about 2 years ago. So imagine how good the technology is now. Okay, so again, we can't rely on what we hear anymore. We have to rely on how we respond. That's how you protect yourself. So that's what today is about. Learning how to protect yourself and understanding how these scams work. And they all work the same way. Again, trigger emotion, reduce thinking, push action. Now we're going to go into detail later about these 3 simple rules. But it's important that you just pause, verify, and never send money under pressure. Now, I'm going to invite Courtney to come up and speak about fraud from a banking lens. She's been waiting there with bated breath, I'm sure. And again, Courtney is the Assistant Manager Member Services at the credit union and helps protect our members from fraud. And I get to take a break. So.
There you go. Hi, everyone. So I want to give you a quick look at what happens behind the scenes at the credit union. So our job is to process the transactions. It's to help protect you. So if you ever come in to withdraw a large amount of money or make transactions that are unusual, we may ask questions. And I want to be clear, this isn't because we want to be nosy. We're trying to protect you. So if we're asking questions, it's because we've seen this before. Oh, I'm going to go quick. Here we go. I'll get used to this, I promise. Okay, so know your member. Know your member is one of the most crucial roles in fraud prevention. Our staff are trained to look for warning signs like unusual transactions, signs of pressure, or situations that don't quite add up. In many cases, we've been able to stop scams just by slowing things down and asking a few questions. This really does make a difference. So I want to share a couple examples where conversations have helped prevent loss. So one example that really stands out involved an e-transfer alert that we received. The email the funds were being sent to looked suspicious on our end, so we reached out to the member to verify the transaction. The member believed she was receiving a large refund from malware software she had previously purchased. The scammers told her that she needed to send money first for administration fees before the refund could go through. When we called her, she actually answered by putting us into a three-way call with the scammer. That ended up helping us tremendously because we were able to speak directly with the scammer, ask questions, and point out inconsistencies in their story in real time. Slowly, the member started realizing that things were not adding up, and thankfully, we were able to stop the transaction before she lost any money. One of the hardest parts of fraud prevention is that even when we strongly believe something is a scam, members can sometimes find it difficult to believe us due to fear, denial, or emotional investment in the situation. In many cases, they may have been speaking with someone for weeks or months and have built a level of trust or connection. Whether that's through a relationship, a romance scam, or simply someone convincing them they are about to receive money, winnings, or a refund. Scammers are very skilled at creating pressure and making situations feel legitimate. Sometimes members are embarrassed, afraid of being wrong, or hopeful that what they are being told is real. One of the biggest red flags we try to educate our members on is you should never have to send money to receive money, ever. No legitimate company will ever have you do that. If they need money, they'll take it off of the amount they're about to give you, okay? As a financial institution, we can educate, ask questions, provide warnings, and sometimes even refuse a transaction if we believe there are serious concerns. But ultimately, it is still the member's money, and that does not always stop somebody from coming and withdrawing their funds and going to another financial institution to complete the transaction. That's why we educate and that's why education and awareness are so important. Fraud prevention is not only about security systems, it's also about human emotions. And sometimes simply slowing things down and having conversations is enough to help someone recognize manipulation before it's too late. So our goal at LDCU is never to judge, it's to protect, educate, and create a safe space for members to pause, ask questions, and slow things down before making a decision they may regret. But here's the important part, we can't do it alone. If something feels off, stop, ask, and let us help, because sometimes just slowing things down is enough to prevent a scam. So this slide here, if a bank calls this way and how it's a scam, Nick's just gonna pop out here. We couldn't get it to quite work properly like the other videos, so Nick's just gonna pull it up so it's a little bit more clear.
Let's talk about something I know can be a real worry. Getting an unexpected phone call that says it's from your bank. You know, knowing how to recognize a scam call is actually a very simple and powerful way to protect your finances and, maybe just as importantly, your peace of mind.
So, does that sound familiar? The phone rings, and the person on the other end sounds so calm, so professional. They might even know your name. Well, this is one of the most common ways that scammers start a call, and it's specifically designed to make you feel like you're talking to someone you can trust.
So, when you hear those words, what's the safest thing to do? Let's just walk through the answer together step by step so you can feel completely confident and prepared for a call like this. Here's what we'll cover. We'll look at how these calls usually start, the tricks scammers use to make you feel rushed, the key warning signs to listen for, and then the exact simple steps you can take to stay safe. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Most of these scam calls, they follow a very predictable pattern. And once you know what to listen for, they become much easier to spot. You see, scammers almost always start with phrases just like these. Notice how they're all designed to sound official, but also to give you a little jolt of alarm. Their whole goal is to make you feel that something is wrong and that you have to act immediately to fix it. And that really brings us to their main strategy. What they do is they combine fear, the idea that your money is in danger, with urgency, that feeling that you have to do something right now. Their goal is to get you to act before you even have a moment to think it through. And right here is the simple, clear difference between a real bank and a scammer. A legitimate bank is never going to pressure you in an unexpected phone call. They know it's dangerous to ask for things like passwords or PINs over the phone, so they just don't do it. All right, now let's look at the specific red flags you can actually listen for while you're on the phone. These are the clues that will tell you the person on the other end of the line isn't who they say they are. Now, this is a big one. A real bank will never, ever ask you to transfer your own money to some other account to keep it safe. Think about it. Your money is already in a protected account. If you hear someone ask you to do this, you can be absolutely certain it's a scam. Scammers want to keep you on the line. Why? Because it keeps the pressure on and it keeps them in control. It also stops you from taking a moment to think clearly, or from calling your real bank to check if their story is even true. You know those little codes you get in a text message when you're trying to log in somewhere? Well, those codes are like a digital key to your account. They are meant for you and you alone. You should never, ever share one with anyone who calls you out of the blue. Now, you might be thinking, but wait, the call came from my bank's number on my caller ID. Unfortunately, scammers can use a trick to make any name or number they want appear on your screen. It's called spoofing, and it just means you can't trust your caller ID by itself to know who's really calling. Okay, now for the most important part of all, the simple, powerful steps you can take the very moment you feel that something isn't right about a call. It's really this simple. First, just stop talking. You don't need to give them another piece of information. Second, hang up the phone. And please remember this, it is never rude to hang up. In fact, it's the safest and smartest thing you can possibly do. Then, you can check things out on your own terms. So, after you've hung up, there's only one safe way to find out if your bank was actually trying to get in touch with you. The key here is to find a phone number that you know is legitimate. The best place to look is right on the back of your bank card or maybe on your bank's official website. You call that number directly, and when you get a representative on the line, you just ask them a simple question. Was your fraud department trying to contact me today? You know, if you only remember one thing from our little chat today, I hope it's this one simple protective rule. That's it. If a caller is pressuring you for private information and insists that it has to be done right now, the safest thing to do is always to just hang up and call your bank back using a number that you trust. This one little habit will protect you completely. By learning these simple signs and these few easy steps, you've really given yourself the tools you need to stay in control. You can feel confident and prepared, knowing exactly what to do to keep your money and your identity safe and sound.
Yes, hi.
I was recently scammed on the long weekend.
Oh, sorry.
I worked in banking for 40 years. I'm pretty aware of financial scams.
Let's talk about...
I hung up on the scammer right away because I knew I was being scammed. They waited a few minutes and called me back. The thing is, they never fished for information from me. They had all my information. They were repeating, they were saying it to me and asking me to confirm it. They had my credit card information, They had my banking information, they had my address, my email address, they had everything. So when they called back and they were verifying that, I hung up again because I knew it was a scammer. And I immediately phoned the number on the back of my credit card and I got routed right back to the scammers. CBC just had a piece out about how they are actually rerouting you back to the scammers. So when I called, I said, I'm phoning, I'm concerned that there's scammers trying to hack my account. Has your fraud department contacted me? I did not get any alerts because I have alerts on my account. They said, yes, we are. And I think I'm talking to my bank and I'm not.
Wow.
So do not call the number on your credit card from the phone that they called you on. Go use someone else's phone or go directly to your bank because these guys had everything on me. It did not come across as them fishing for information. They had it all anyway.
Right.
Don't trust calling back on your phone. If anyone wants a CBC piece on how they do this, I have it, I will send it to you.
Yes, that's a very good point. I remember reading about that one.
Yes.
That's one of the things about digital devices, and you know, we just went through for an advertising campaign. They can track your phone.
Yeah.
So you hear with digital streaming, a lot of people use their phones for listening to ads, watching TV, something like that. So when you watch on your phone, if you make a call on the phone, they can track exactly where you saw that ad and track the phone device, and they can follow it all around. So that's true.
So I ended up going to a branch and they were actually putting a transaction through for $20,000. So, and simply because they called me back. So don't call the bank right away, not from your digital, not from your cell phone. Call from someone else's, a landline, or go to your branch because they are way more sophisticated than even you're pointing out on here. They're way more sophisticated than that.
Phishing, sorry, I just want to say one more thing to the phishing. Phishing doesn't happen, not always reacting right away. Sometimes they'll phish your information and they'll sit on it for a while and you can't connect the dots as to where or how they got access to your phone, but it could have been an ad that you clicked on months ago. It could have been a text message that was sent to you or a link that was sent to you, and they'll just sit on that information and they'll wait because they don't want you to be alerted or know how they could. It's just out of sight, out of mind. That was months ago, and so.
She was never disconnected from the scammer's telephone line.
That's right. That's exactly what it was. I was never disconnected even though I hung up.
So then what did they need you for if they had all your information?
They needed, so what they told me was they wanted to freeze my account because there was fraud being committed. At this point, I think I'm talking to my bank. I do, because I called the number on the back of my credit card. And they said, yeah, the fraud department's trying to shut your account down. We need this information from you. We're sending you a code to verify it's you. And boom, they had me. I worked in banking for 40 years. I know all of this stuff. And yet it's because they were able to loop me back in to them, not to my bank.
That is crazy.
They're very sophisticated.
Yeah. So banks will never ask for this kind of information. Your passwords or your PINs. Banks may ask you to enter your password or PIN using a secure method, but they will never ask you for it over the phone. Verification codes, that one-time code that they were talking about in the video, we will never ask you for that one-time code. Your debit or credit card information, immediate payments or transfers. Banks will never pressure you to make immediate payments or transfers of your funds, especially as a way to prevent fraud. Gift cards, no legitimate organization will ever ask you for gift cards as payments. That may seem like a lot, but all you need to do is remember this. You will never be asked for passwords or codes over the phone. If you are, it's a scam. You will never be rushed to move your money, and you will never be asked for unusual payments like gift cards or Bitcoins. If it happens, it's a scam. So with that, I will pass you back to Michael, and he can wrap all this together. You're welcome.
So, yeah, it's a pretty scary thing out there, isn't it?
One question before you start. A lot
Yes.
of times, you get that call, if you shut the phone down and call back, that number doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. No, that
And-
didn't happen to me. It
Yeah.
still existed.
It existed because you answered.
No, but I powered my phone off and powered it back on.
You-
It still
they
came
s-
up saying the bank.
Yeah, it's still, yeah, so it doesn't get rid of that, but when you answered, they got you. So that's the thing. So a lot of it, when on the phones, so if it's a number you don't recognize, don't answer the phone. Because, yeah, exactly. So when they spoof the phone, when they've got the information, when they got that, I mean, you did everything that you're supposed to do. Sometimes, it's like driving a car. Sometimes you get in an accident. You do everything you can to stop it. You're a good driver. You have your insurance. You do everything you're supposed to do. And something happens, you have an accident. Sometimes, right? But then this is where it might be good for insurance because you can be insured against fraud. So this might be something.
And the thing, the comments about them rushing you.
No.
When I called my institution, the number on the back of my card, they did not rush me.
No.
They stayed on the phone with me for 45 minutes, but they had all my information.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had no idea that that was the scammers.
Yes, exactly. And this, yes.
And then you phone your supplier who's ever servicing your phone. Can you trace the number that called me last? I mean, they can do everything else. I mean, they can fix my TV without moving.
Yes.
And yet they can't trace back that call that came into me?
Well, that's the burner phones or call centers. It gets routed around. It's, yeah.
I did go into my phone provider because my institution told me that my phone had been hacked. So I actually took my phone in to get it cleaned. It had never been hacked.
Yes.
No information was provided. I went into my phone provider. They found the phone number and it was out of India.
Yes. Yeah. So I wish I could give you guarantees, but I can't. We can only do so much to protect ourselves. Now, what is good, so in the case I'll talk about a little bit later, if you suspect that something's happened, something's happened, you call your bank. In this instance, doing it off the card didn't work. But you call your bank, and if you call them within, as soon as this happened, they will go out of their way to try and help you and get your money back or do what they can. Well, we will go out of our way. I can't speak for every bank. But it's one of those things that the faster you act on it, the better it is for you. And tell people, educate people, let people know this is what happened. This goes into, there's a science behind this, and it's called social engineering. And, don't think of it as they hack computers, they hack people. They get people to do exactly what they want them to do. And these people are really good at it, as you can tell, right? They know what to say, they know how to say it, they know, if social media, they might know your friends, information, stuff like that. So, it's a challenge, which is why it's a every thing that we looked at, the numbers gotten higher, the billions gotten higher and higher. I would say it's probably a multi-trillion-dollar industry, right? So, with that said, we're going to talk about some of the tools. Okay, so as we said before, and some of this information is being repeated, it sounds like it's the same again, is to drive it home. trying to, protect yourselves in whatever way you can. Okay? So scammers can fake pretty much everything. Emails, text, phone numbers, websites, deep fakes. That's AI, and that's not only voice cloning, but also videos. You can see videos that are absolutely fake. Those dancing cats, they're not really dancing. It's a fake AI-generated video. So, again, so what do? We pause, verify, and then you protect. You don't send money. Try and recognize the red flags. So, unexpected contact. Again, I said that before, unsolicited, you weren't expecting it, treat it as suspicious right off the bat. Urgent pressure, for the most part. Payments by gift cards or Bitcoin, and then the requests for secrecy. I mean, when we're sitting here and we're all calm, for the most part, they seem pretty obvious, but as we can say, when you're in the middle of situations, sometimes it's not so obvious. So, and, I just want to get back. Sometimes you can do all the right thing and still, it happens. So it's unfortunate, and I'm sorry that happened to you.
I managed to stop that.
Yeah, that's good, because you were vigilant and you were on it and you reacted right away. So vigilance is key in doing it, right? So what do you say? And sometimes it's a generational thing where it's hard to be rude on the phone. You don't want to hang up because it's drilled in. And so you will listen and wait. No, just hang up, right? And if you have to respond, it's like, I don't make decisions on the phone. I will call back. I need to check with family. So again, it's okay to say no. It's okay to hang up. Now let's look at some real examples how scams trick you online. So this was an email sent to me. Okay, so how many of you gotten the message from Netflix? Again, I think I asked that earlier. It didn't process your subscription, for those of you that have Netflix subscriptions. Okay, how about a Canada Post or Amazon or UPS? We weren't able to deliver your package, so click on this tracking link. That's a big one. How about your computer's infected? Norton, we saw that scam earlier. Okay, there are hundreds of thousands of different phishing emails designed to get you to click on them. Okay, now I wanted to bring this up because then we started talking about the actual steps to protect yourself. So you can see in this example, it's kind of easy to spot. I knew it was a scam right off the bat. And I'll tell you why I knew it was a scam. They got the name right, Canada Revenue Agency. Before, they would say Revenue Canada. Now they got smart. Now it's Canada Revenue. I've even gotten, emails from the IRS saying I owe them money. Those are easy to spot, those ones, right? Okay. Now, look at the language. Your funds await. Isn't that exciting? Right? I need to get my money now so I can spend and do what I want with it. So even something as passive as that, it's that emotional trigger that they're trying to do. Okay? And look at the address where it came from. Now, you probably can't see it, but it says david@vannydemo.guiderschool.com. Now, I know that didn't come from the CRA. So do you guys know how to click on that address to find out where it comes from? Yep. Yeah, so if you just click on it, it'll tell you where the email came from. And you can tell pretty quickly, so, that doesn't sound right. So that's a big step right there. Okay, but most tellingly, I know the CRA does not do e-transfers. I know this. A lot of people don't know this. They don't do e-transfers. They tell you to, sign up, and then they do direct deposit or something like that, but they don't do e-transfers. So this was an email example. Text example. Okay, now this looks legit. It looks like it's from PayBC. PayBC is a legitimate site. The The text says, of course, your vehicle was detected by a speed monitoring camera exceeding the speed limit, going 41 kilometers per hour in a school zone, you naughty people. To settle your infraction without a court date, please visit https://bcpay-infractions.com before, and then they have the date when they do it for, okay? So this looks legit, but this was an unsolicited text, so right off the bat, I'm suspicious. Next, so when you look at the image itself, I cannot tell that this is fake. It looks legit. The wording is right, there's no misspellings. It all looks good. Okay, so you don't try to verify the image, you try to verify the source. I can't verify the image, but where did it come from? So I try and verify that. And so to verify, you try to contact the organization through official channels and not the contact info they provide. So when I look at this as like PayBC, well, one of the ways I try to confirm it is I look at the address they provide here. Now, when you look at it, it says bcpay-infractions.com. Well, I did a Google search to look up what the PayBC site is, and it is pay.gov.bc.ca. So I know it's a scam. So it's the wrong link there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about domains in a moment, because often we say check, the address and everything comes from, but what it is exactly are we looking for when we're checking those? Search engines. How many of us rely on Google all the time looking for stuff? All the time, everyone? Like you can't get anywhere unless you go on Google and search it, or Bing or Yahoo or any of the other search engines, right? Now, scammers can make their fake websites appear at the top of a search, right? And they can do them via manipulation of the algorithm or by buying fake ads, right? So in this example, what Google does, which is so fantastic, if it's an ad, you know it's an ad because they label it, right? Bing labels them too, but it's harder to spot. So it's a bit tricky that way. Now take a look at this Google search example. Now, VFriends, I'd never heard of them before now, but it's a collectibles site, right? That doesn't really matter, but it's very popular apparently. So you do a search on here, and so then these are the results that come up. We've got one here, which is an ad. Yes. Right? And VFriends.com. So they both look the same, but they're not the same. So you look at the address here, VFriends, F-R-A-N-D-S, and this went down here, VFriends, F-R-I-E-N-T-S. Well, which one do you think is a scam? This one, right? And that came up in the Google search, right? So that's an easy way, because they'll tell you the addresses, so look at the addresses and see where they are. And use a little bit of critical thinking when you look at it, it's like, oh, wait, it's weird. So that's one of the ways to watch for.
When I get an email, I always check if it's unsolicited, like you say, I always check the return address, and it's
always
some weird long number thing. And
Yeah, exactly. So even a simple thing like that. So
I never thought to check the website.
check the websites. Yeah. So websites. So number one rule, don't trust how a website looks. Always check the address or URL, as it's referred to, when you do it. So what are we looking for? We are looking for the domain. Who here knows what a domain is? A domain is the hosting site. Oh, you would, because you're in IT. So it's the site that hosts, of course, the website, because every website is on some computer server somewhere, right? So the domain is the only thing that matters, okay? Not the logo, not the page, not how it looks, the domain. That's what matters. So how do we find the domain? Now, I'm going to be honest here, and it's going to make me look a bit foolish, but until I did this presentation, I would say to people, check your domain. I didn't know actually what I was looking for in the domain. And when I started going through this, it's like, wait a minute, I'm looking at a domain, because when you look at the domains, they're long addresses. It's like, what am I looking for actually? Like, how do I know this is, real or not? So for the domain, you go and you read the name from right to left, from this way. You don't read it this way, you read it this way, okay? And what we're looking for is the last part that ends in a .com, a .ca, a .org, .gov, something like that. Yeah, so whatever that last bit is, that's what we're looking for. So the real website name of domain is that ending, the .com, .gov, whatever it is, plus everything immediately before it to the previous dot. So if you look at the example here, actually, I'll just go to the next slide. So what does that look like? So we look at the address, we go to the .com, could be .ca, again, a .org, whatever it is, and then we go to the next dot, which is right here. So the domain of this site is actually confirmation./manager/security.com. That could be anybody's site. We don't know, right? But notice how it has paypal.com in the beginning here. So you think it's PayPal's site. It's not. All of this here you can ignore. All of this back here you can ignore. It's just the domain you're interested in looking for. Okay? Notice it's got the padlock. The green padlock. In another video they said about padlock. How many of you think that, when you see the padlock, it's secure and it's okay? All that means is that the channel, the site, is encrypted. Now think of it like a locked door in a house. The door is locked, you can lock the house, but that doesn't mean that the person inside it is trustworthy. So they can get SSL encryption and have a padlock. Criminals can do that too. It just means that the transmission is secure. Doesn't mean that the site is secure or good. You're at the right people. So do not rely on the...
I'm confused. First of all, I can't see that far.
Yes.
But is it legit or not legit?
This is not legitimate.
Not legit
No.
Because why?
The domain. So I know PayPal.
Yeah.
It's paypal.com.
Right.
I know this. The domain is confirmation/manager/security.com.
Oh, I see.
That's not PayPal's site.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. It would have to say PayPal.
It's say paypal.com here, not here. This is designed to fool you,
I see. Okay.
to make you think it's PayPal, and it's not.
So what's the significance of the color of the green lock?
It's just to make you think it's secure and it's great and trust the lock, right? Yeah, so the padlock just means that the channel is secure, doesn't mean you're in the right spot or that it's not fake or it's not fraud. So, yeah, it's not as super trustworthy as I used to think it was. Okay, so I'm going to put a test to you guys. So looking at the two websites here, it's our website. Which one is the real website? So, remember you go to the last, because you read it from right to left. You go to last.com, .ca, .org, whatever it is. Then you go to the next period before, and that's the domain. So. Okay. This is the right one. So notice how this one, if we go to the .com and we go back, the period. This domain is support.com. Well, that's not our website. It could be anybody's website. But we put this in the beginning here to fool you. You think it's our site, but it's not. So this is the only part here that matters, is the domain. So if you take anything away from here today, is to learn how to read the URLs and know what is the domain and not.
So how do you read that bottom one?
So this one here, so you go .ca, and the next period before. ldcu.ca is the domain, and that's our domain. Yeah. So they can put a lot of subdomains, is what they call them in there. It's like the words like security and stuff like that, and you think it's all legitimate, and it's not. Right? So ignore everything before. All this doesn't matter. This is just the path on the website. You don't need to know that. Doesn't matter. It's just the domain.
For most things, we're taught to read left to right. That's how
Yeah.
we've always grown up, is to read left to right. So what we're telling you is to read backwards. Go from dot to dot. What is in between the dots? If it is not a proper domain, if it's just gibberish, it's not a good website.
Yeah.
So focus between the dots.
Yeah. Yeah. And so a good rule of thumb, if you're dealing with a company, you expect the company to be the domain name. And if it's not, we're going to be suspicious, right? So we're near the end, and we're just going to go a couple quick ways to protect yourself. Strong passwords. We are implementing something called Strong Pack on June the 30th. And Strong Pack means Strong Pack is personal access code. That's your access code to get onto your websites. So you're going to find this a lot more, where the stronger passwords are now a minimum of 9 characters, uppercase, lowercase, special characters, and numbers. And it's happening. It's the way to protect yourself. And so we'll be implementing that at the end of the month. We're also doing something called Pack Reset, Personal Access Code Reset, where if you go to log into our site and you've forgotten the number twice, you can ask for a reset on your password, and you'll be able to reset your password. You don't have to come into the branch to do it. Right? So, you know, if you get locked out, well, then you're SOL. I'm sorry. You're going to have to come into the branch or phone. But this is a convenience that a lot of places are doing now. Okay, enable two-factor. That's basically the code that you get back. So if you haven't, do it, please. Set up text alerts. So how many have text alerts on their bank transactions? So you can set them up for everything. I don't set them up for deposits because I don't care about money going in. I care about money coming out. So I have alerts for that. You have alerts for going online. You set them up. And you can customize what kind of alerts that you want. Set up a code word. This is for family, secret code words. So you know for sure it's them that you're calling. Don't do the family pet. Don't do, you know, some simple things that are easy to guess, especially if the kids on social media and talking about it all the time, they can guess that, right? Yeah. Shred sensitive documents. That's an easy one. Get a shredder. So any documents, financial information, bills that you don't do anymore, throw them in the shredder. Because dumpster diving is a thing. They'll find old bills and reference. It's one of the ways that hackers get your information. I didn't go into all of that, but anyway, that's one of the things that they do. Okay, on social media, privacy settings. Adjust your privacy settings. Don't let everybody see everything. That's not a great idea. Okay? Be cautious with friend requests. You can get friend requests from someone who you think is a friend, but is it really them? Is it really there? Right? Because AI can do a lot of stuff. They can duplicate things, right? Don't overshare. Do not put on social media, we're going on vacation. That's a simple one, but everybody does it, right? Okay, and educate yourself and others. So that's, you know, helping everyone else when something like this comes on. Okay, and if you suspect that you're a victim of fraud, report it. Right? It helps everyone, and it makes people know that they're not alone, and there's no reason to be embarrassed. Because as we've established, these people are smart, and they know how to manipulate you. Okay, so we've come to the close. I'd like to thank Courtney for coming and giving her take on the banking side. And I mean, we've covered a lot of information. How many of your heads are like spinning from the information, right? Well, it's one of those things. It's like don't be scared, right? It's like you have the tools to protect yourself, and like I said, that's why I liken it to a car. You don't give a second thought popping into a car and driving somewhere, right? Get in an accident. A lot of bad things happen when you're driving, but we're conditioned to it. We don't think about it, right? It's the same with the digital space. You know, we have the tools to protect yourself as best you can. You can only do so much. That will, for almost everyone in this room, that's enough to protect you. You know, there's always the occasional exemption to every rule. What is that phrase? Exception to every rule. You know, but I'm glad you shared your story because now everybody knows. You know, there we go. Don't call the number on the back of the card from your phone. Go to a different phone.
Yes, I'm going to the bank.
Or go to the bank. Yeah. Okay. So there we are. Now, I know we've done some questions like that. Does anyone have any other? Yes.
Just a quick one. I mentioned earlier that I had a decline out of province charge on my account. The credit company declined it. I get the alert. Should I have contacted them at that time? Or all I did was look at it and thought, oh, good work, right? But should I have contacted them at that time or not?
Courtney, what do you think?
I didn't hear the whole, you got an out-of-province which?
There's somebody tried to put a transaction through on my MasterCard. It was from out of province, and they were declined. So,
And how did you
so
get
I
that
got an alert saying that was a big decline, right? I get an alert for every transaction that goes through. So, should I have contacted MasterCard at that time or not?
I think what I would have done is I would have grabbed my statements and I would have paid a little bit more attention to each transaction for the last few months to make sure there wasn't anything further that maybe they had missed. I don't think MasterCard could have done anything more other than what they already did was decline. But make sure that you are paying close attention to your transactions. So many times people do not pay attention to their statements. They come in, their balance is roughly around what they figured it was, but that $33 transaction, that $50 transaction here and there could end up being something worse later on.
I track everything on my computer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always good. Any other questions? Okay, so we're going to conclude. There is a sign-up sheet at the back of the room, so if you want a copy of the presentation, we will email it to you, and you can have a look at the information on there. Yep, right there, thank you. That's it. Thank you for your time. Yes.
I've got a refund sitting on my phone right now from the Western Bread price manipulation.
Oh, the price manipulation thing? Yeah.
You heard if that's fraudulent or not?
Oh, well, there was a civil suit against Loblaws and that for the bread thing. I applied for that, so I think that's legit.
But could it be coming from a false?
Possibly. Check where it came from. Yeah. Did you get it from a text or an email? Email? So then check the address where it came from, because it should have probably Loblaws or something in the name. The big. Yeah, so it'll tell you. But yeah, that's the thing. I can't tell you how often I've gotten the package wasn't able to be delivered, and it just happened to be the time I ordered something from Amazon, and I'm like, oh my God, it didn't come through, right? That's just a fluke. They haven't hacked you or spied on you. They send so many of these out, sooner or later it's going to catch someone in it, right? So, yeah. Okay? Pardon me?